right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening to the podcast Tell Me Your Story. Tonight, our special guest is Carrie Fleming, and she is on to tell her story from the very beginning to her life story. And like how we always do, we're going to jump into it and begin with talking about the early life in your childhood. That's my first question for you.
Hi, Chris. Well, thank you so much for having me on today. And I really appreciate this opportunity to share my story with you and your audience, all who are listening. Wow, my early life, my childhood. So I come from a family of two sisters and my parents. We lived in Toledo, Ohio, I lived there for over 25 years. My family is still there at this time. So I grew up with two sisters. I'm the oldest of them and went to Central Catholic High School out there in Toledo and then pursued college at the University of Toledo, where I received my bachelor degree, as well as then I pursued my master's degree pursuing speech therapy, pathologist. And growing up in Toledo, my dad was very involved in the athletic department, and a couple of the high schools. He was a teacher, and my mom was a teacher. And so growing up, my sisters and I would frequently attend a lot of the Toledo athletic events, basketball, football. Um, Both my parents taught at Woodward High School. So those of you in the audience who are familiar or way back know Woodward High School. Um, that's where they both taught. My dad was a head football coach and basketball coach way back in the early 70s. And so growing up in the city of Toledo and having family rooted there, we had a great time and really making connections and really living the city life, even going to Tony Paco's for their hot dogs and so forth. Um, but Toledo has such a knitted, just a connected root of people. I couldn't say anything greater. Everybody there has always looked out for each other, supported each other. And that's something that I grew up with my family and my sisters and the schools where I went to school. Like everyone was family oriented. So I think that also brings a lot of who I am today, just having those interconnections and growing up in an environment where that was very rooted.
Now,
So it was fun.
being that you were from Toledo, was it your choice that you always wanted to go to the UT? Or did you?
So no, I will say I being the first in my family to head off to college, um, let me step back. I enjoyed my high school years. I enjoyed my friendships. Um, so I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to Michigan State actually,
Oh,
to pursue my education there. I wanted to get away because I wanted to also have that independency.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not get accepted to Michigan State, which is okay, which is absolutely okay. And a lot of my friends were going to Toledo for college. And so I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to save money home and I'm going to be the commuter. And back then, the University of Toledo certainly it was not well developed as it is now. I mean, it was a big school, but a smaller school compared to what it is now, of course. But so a lot of my friends ended up actually going to the University of Toledo. I went to the University of Toledo then and stayed home, worked two jobs to pay for my education, um, and started my path. I originally wanted to be an English teacher. So when I first started school, I was in the education department, but wanted to be an English teacher. So I started taking all these British literature courses and all these things, but that was boring to me then. So I thought, nah, I'm not going to do this. And it was my friend's boyfriend at the time who came to me this had to have been my end of my junior year, probably going into my senior year of college, because I was still in this. I have no idea what I want to do in life. Um, given that English was not going to be my major anymore. And I remember him saying to me, and we talked about this earlier, that one day, that one changing moment, right? Well, this was my one changing moment where this he came to me and he said, "Hey, Carrie, they have this department in speech therapy in special ed. Why don't you look at that?" And I knew, I wanted to be in some level of education because I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to be teaching at some degree, but English just was not it. And when he said that to me, I thought, oh, okay. And it was in back then University Hall. I cannot tell you if University Hall still exists right now, but it was in the little tower up in University Hall. I went up there and I started to inquire about it. And at the time, the university was just accredited for the American Speech and Hearing Association that they could actually promote that program in speech pathology. So it was all kind of coming together all at once.
Wow.
And it was like one of the newest classes. You had to go to get your master's. So I had to finish up and graduate with my bachelor's, but I would roll right into my master program in that. So I applied and I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how it goes. It was very interesting. It kind of seemed all like what I wanted to do. And it was that one changing moment that I got into my master's program there at the university and made strong connections with the faculty and was able to be offered multiple variety of extern sites in my master's program, meaning I was able to be in a school, I was able to be in a hospital, I was able to work with a voice specialist. I was able to get immersed into so many different things. But I reflectively look back and go, in order to have done that, I had to have had an interest.
Yes.
So apparently, my motivation and my interest and my enthusiasm resonated with the faculty to say, wow, let's put her here. Let's try her here. Because at that point, I didn't know I wanted. I began to love it and wanted to work with people, particularly children. But it's like I dabbled with a little bit of everything. And to this day, 25 plus years later, each environment that I was placed in continues to evolve into what I encounter today. So anytime I would work with an individual, I can always reflectively look back on a place that I was placed in at the university. And it's somewhere in that time frame, it was almost like someone knew, someone knew, put her here, put her there. And so I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
The fact that life itself played out that way for you. You went from simply thinking about becoming this English teacher. But I look at it too as you were telling your story, like, had you not come across that one person
Mhm.
helped guide you into that direction, which will forever, like you said, one day forever changed the course of your life. And that's
That's
incredible.
right. That's right. And you think about it, we never know who that person is or the why. And it, I had to be in a place where I was listening. I had to be in a place where I was accepting to hear and be engaged with that individual to listen and hear what was their thought. Oh, it was this new thing. Okay, well, let me go. I didn't say no. I didn't say, oh, that's crazy. I was open and listening to it to explore it. And I think that is something many of us, especially as we start out in life and grow, you know, um, being open, being very open and curious about it.
And for the audience listener that's asking, how was that adjustment for you going from from one degree to all of a sudden you changed up, you're in your junior year, you're getting close to that. It's almost time to leave. How was the adjustment for that?
It was exciting, actually. I felt like I knew what I wanted to do now. Now in a driver's seat with motivation. I felt like there was purpose. Like, okay, I got this. This is what I want to do. And having all the different opportunities and engagements. I mean, my class at that time is very small. Today, today at the university, the department is different. It's changed. The name is different. It's much more expanded. And, I opportunities to go back and speak to the class now and to see how it's quadrupled and magnified with students, but to be part of that beginning class, to seeing where it is now, to be able to inspire those who are launching into the program, to let them know, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want with this field. You can make it whatever you want to make it, where you want to go. And the education that I received, I know is still prominent there, that they're going to receive it and they'll all be very successful. And that's really exciting to be able to reflectively look at that and give that information back to people so they're empowered to continue on.
An important note too, also for the listener watcher, is she had that desire, that passion when she switched over, and that's what
Mhm.
drove her to keep going for it. Now, if you feel the same way, you're not sure what you're studying right now is actually what you want to do with life. Think about it. Talk to somebody like she did, and see like if there's something else out there for you. We all have it inside of us, but if you had that hunger for something else and you decide to pursue that, and that makes you happy, go for it. And you might have the same results. You might have that same desire, that same passion that will help blossom that dream for you, like grow for you. Look how it turned out for her.
Yes, very, very much so. And I will forever be grateful because for the one moment I had with my friend's boyfriend saying, "Hey, what do you think about this?" To me, going, "Okay," being open and receiving it, the drive, the initiative, the passion, which now flourished. I mean, I, I've been very successful, and it's not because I felt entitled to it. I built it. It was me with the drive and the passion to make it what it is today.
Now, what would you say was the key milestones for you and accomplishments that happened in that time period?
Um, so the key accomplishments with the degree that I have from um, from the passion that I've had is I became an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, again, I built a business here in Virginia. I live in Virginia. And so I built a business in Virginia, um, grounded by my passion to work with children in the field as a speech pathologist. And so in Northern Virginia, near DC, I started a practice, a private practice, working with children with special needs. And as an entrepreneur, I started out of my home in 2004 and grew the business to 7 locations in Northern Virginia, offering speech, occupational physical therapy, over 100 employees, to where my business did get acquired. People sought out the business. And for the safety net of my family, for the longevity of their life, so that they don't have financial risks, we did make that acquisition in 2018, to where then I grew to be a VP of quality and education
What?
of the larger company. And then I retired from that in July of 2022. But that is a journey. That was a journey along the way. And there's so many different avenues along that way. But the success is I I built something based on my motivation and my passion for delivering a high quality service that I knew I personally wanted to give. And along the way, yes, I got married after I graduated with my master's to a gentleman in the Navy. So he whisked me away to California. So we traveled. And along the way, we have 6 children. So, you know, it was, again, everything is a journey. But what's important, I think, with people for people to recognize is you can do whatever you set your mind to. And I would always get the question, how did you do that? Or how do you manage that? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer to how I do that. My only answer is you do. You do what you're given. And it's not perfect. And it's going to have its ups and downs and challenges, absolutely. But what's grounded is the motivation, the passion. And when you have that purpose along with the passion, anything can happen. You can make anything happen, make it work. And, you know, I remember when my kids, my oldest right now, they're 20, they'll be 26. And so they're twins. And so when they were growing up, a lot of times you didn't have parents that were both parents working full time. Well, I knew I could not be a very good parent if I were home all day. That's me. I love my kids. My kids were involved. They're very successful right now. And along the time and journey, I would teach them, if I'm also happy, you're happy,
Yes.
because I can give you my full who I am. So my work included helping other children and families. My kids would see that. My kids would see why I might have to be at work till 6 o'clock,
Yes.
but I'm coming home because they knew, oh, conversation related to that, but it was all from a positive perspective, nothing regretted.
And now during this time period, though, kind of give us like a little backstory. Like, how did you handle the challenges, all the obstacles that were thrown at you? How did you get past those? Was it easy? Was it hard? And as you were building yourself up to get where you are now?
Both professionally and personally, challenges in navigating entrepreneur, if I got part of that question, and due to our internet connectivity, challenges with entrepreneurship is making sure that you're on, you're and making sure you're meeting the needs of your clients. And are you marketing to the people you're going to have as part of your business? And so that's challenging. And the challenging piece of meeting everyone's needs. So I had to meet customer needs, I had to meet physician needs, I had to meet payer needs, I had to meet even then the personal need, making sure, you know, okay, did so and so get picked up from practice, not left at the football field
Hmm.
or something, multitasking, the challenges of multitasking. And so it's never roses, but you have to accept that not everything is going to go the way you want it to go. You can have this beautiful picture of, the flow, but it's not. So being okay with, if if a customer got mad, okay, well, how do you handle that situation? And being able to go, wow, what can I have done better? What could I have done differently? And the more that I was able to do more self reflection, I was accepting to all the challenges that did occur along the way. As I added employees, I had to, I had the challenge, all walks of life. And so just being able to,
Hold on, wait. You said you had a challenge all walks of life. The internet kind of chopped on you.
oh, sorry, all walks of life, when you talk about just generational. So I have new graduates coming into work, to the individual who only wants to work 2 nights a week, but being able to balance that, but be genuine to it and going, okay. And I think just, again, putting that listening hat on and making sure that we're to each other so that we can all do what we like to do and meet everyone's needs as much as possible.
And as you're talking about it and you're looking back on it, how does that make you feel?
I had to grow with that. That's it was a growing piece because I was running a business and people want paychecks. People want things. So, but I had to step back and really look at how to take care of the people, not only your customer, but the people that are working with you. And I say working with me because even though they worked for the business, I believe in relationships where you work with people, because when you work with people, things can happen. And that I grew with that because the initial mindset was you need to do this. So I had to change my mindset to how do we accomplish this? How can we make it work for you, for the customer, and for the business? And when you come to the mutual discussions with it, how things came.
Did anybody like help influence you or inspire you as you were doing all this?
Um, yes, I would have to say my husband's a big influencer. He's supported a lot of the backbone of the business part. That's his mindset. Um, and my customers, when your patients come in to see you and those moms come in and they're looking for you to take care of them and their child. And as the nurturing side, and I again go back to I always wanted to work with children and families, those were my influencers. That's what made me get up in the morning as well. Not only my own family, but those other families to know they relied on me. So they influenced me to keep going. They influenced me to get even better at my job, and to actually grow the business because they wanted our services. So they were the big ones.
So having people supporting you and inspiring you, man, I mean, especially having a husband, that's the most important part too, is like doing a business. And like you said, you're putting a lot of time, a lot of effort into it. You're putting your heart and soul into that business to grow it. But to also have your spouse, your partner, helping you as well, that makes it even better because you guys are working together, and that's the most important thing. A lot of people miss out on that too. Just that perfect example right there. You guys got to be together as one.
Yes, that I mean that is so important because when I started the business back in 2004, and I started it in my home, when he would come, he was working at the Pentagon at the time, and he would come home. He would take, we had 5 children at the time. He would take them downstairs, put the cartoons on and TV on. I would see a client in my home. And so there was a lot of interruption of family life in the very beginning, but he supported that. You need, and even if it's not your spouse, I mean, having a great friend or a family member, whomever, you need the sounding boards, you need the support mechanism along the way, the cheerleader too, to give you that, you got this.
Oh, keep
And
going.
yeah, and different sacrifices that come along the way. And so having those connections and that support mechanism really contributes to the longevity of the success of what I was able to open and flourish with.
So now, what are your current projects and your goals as of now? Welcome back from the commercial break. And
We'll take it. Yeah.
we were covering the topic. What are your current projects as of right now and your goals?
So, as I mentioned, I officially retired from the larger organization July of 2022 here. And from there, I had taken some time to kind of just do more self reflection as to what am I going to do? Well, I knew I loved working with people. I know I enjoy teaching because as I've manifested over 20 plus years of doing what I did, I started training new therapists in the field of speech pathology. So I've been a mentor and a supervisor. I've done some things at the university levels at different colleges and so forth. So I knew I wanted to continue. So I'm currently, I actually just finished taking coaching for leadership organization through American University. And so now I am pursuing more into the executive coaching leadership realm, as well as my husband and I have now launched a new business for business consulting and development. So that's my new project pursuance in life because um, I don't sit still. I like to continue to contribute where I can.
So, what are your goals for this new business?
The goals for the new business are to help other small businesses, particularly if they are a speech, occupational, or physical therapy business, anything in the rehabilitative or habilitative realm in the health field. If they are looking to launch a new business, we are here to help them. We will be there to help with the financial aspect, to setting a business up and being able to follow their dream.
Now, what would your advice be to that person that is seeking to start a new business or small business or any type of business? What is your advice to them?
As long your business will be very successful as long as you have the passion and the drive. If you have no passion and no motivation and no drive,
Forget about it.
I just can't. And I see, and not only from my business, but I've seen this now from other businesses. Especially with entrepreneurs, like people have an idea. That's great. You have an idea, but an idea is different than a passion. So you have to have that passion internally will help with the visionary. That ignites that vision, that ignites that momentum, that ignites it to go and do whatever it is that you can do. And you work tirelessly because you mold it, you create it. And we're here to help those individuals when they have that motivation.
Now, if somebody doesn't quite understand what you were talking about just now, can you kind of like break it down for a little bit so they could understand just a little bit?
You mean the passion part?
Yeah, because some people want to understand like what you mean by molding and creating and all that stuff. And I think it really like what better ways for me to say it is you have to first fix this up here, your mindset. That way you have the right idea, the focus has got to be there as well. If you're not thinking if you have negative thoughts all the time, a lot of times you're not going to be able to do what you're set out to do. You're not going to be able to grow that business. Because if you're doubting yourself all the time, that's going to play a big part into your business. And
Absolutely.
the part that you really want to do, creating this business and developing whatever it is you're after, is you got to get this right first. Start reading books that are going to build you up. Start listening to stuff that's going to motivate you and get your mind focused in the right direction. Because more than anything, that's what it's all about. And when you get into business, when you're starting off, it ain't going to be easy. You're in the groundwork. You're planting that seed. You got to water it, man. and you got to continue to water. As long as you do that, man, that will start happening. But you're gonna face a lot of obstacles along the way. You're gonna get a lot of people that are close to you. They're gonna say, "You can't do it. What are you doing? You're wasting your time." But that's why I said you have to renew your mind. That's where it all starts at. You have to have it fixed up here before you can do it out there. Because if you have a negative mindset and you're always doubting yourself, your disbelief all the time, your business won't thrive. Instead, you got to trust and believe in yourself and have that passion, that desire, like we was talking about earlier, that fire inside of you to want to do it, to have the love. You got to have, you're putting your whole self into it, man. And when you do, it will reflect, it will show once you get it going. And all that hard work, all those obstacles that get thrown your way, it's gonna be worth it. That's all I was simply saying. Also, as you're connecting and start a business, connect to the right minded people too. Get yourself some people that are gonna, like you said earlier, inspire you, help you, and nurture you a little bit, kind of give you advice, but get the right people around you, and then connect to people that if you're not sure quite what you're doing as well, I would also suggest to get people that are familiar with that area. Get somebody that has done it before, somebody that's created their own business and knows what it's like to come from the bottom and make it to the top. Knows what you're getting yourself into. Get somebody that will help you and be kind of like an influencer, somebody that you can listen to, somebody that you can go to and get feedback from. That way, when the going gets tough, you know how to handle it. You'll be ready. You're focused. You can't do it all by yourself. I'll tell you that. You need people around you. You need somebody to help and kind of have a little bit of support. And you're probably saying to yourself right now, there isn't nobody out there that wants to help me. That's not true. You start putting that idea out to the world and speaking it into your reality, saying what you're about, and showing people the love and passion that you have for it, it's all going to be worth it. And people, before you know it, you're going to start having all kinds of people coming your way, connected to you, all sorts of life to help you get to where you need to be. I feel like I'm preaching over here. But
Yeah.
okay, so our next question.
Mhm.
What are your personal interests and hobbies outside of the business world?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That consumed a lot of my time. No, I love to travel. I absolutely love to travel the world. And my hobbies are I like to create shutterfly books. So I do a lot of taking my pictures that I take for different events, could be anything, and I create a theme to it and I make a book. So it's an opportunity for me to take those fantastic pictures I either take from a trip or take my with my family or a holiday. Um, Even could be like a small little event, and put a theme to it, and I take those pictures and compile it. So I have a stack of all these shutterfly books that I make, and they're memories. They're great memory space, but in a book. So that's my downtime, my fun release of energy.
What I love most about that is just, I mean, you don't really think about it at the time. Are you still there? You don't really think about it at the time. Um, just taking pictures and stuff, and then like later on reflecting on them, looking at all the pictures and kind of reliving that moment. Do you feel that anyway when you do all this, when you do your books?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I'll sit there for quite some time and just kind of have try to reflect back on, oh, remember when I climbed that or when we did that tour, and then just brings back additional memories. And so the fun part when I do the creation of the book, when I look at those pictures, I can start to put in little like comments or uh, quotes if I remember. Oh my gosh, sometimes when I would do a family vacation, I would take a notebook and I would just start putting little things in the notebook. Even I pull it out of my purse. My kids are just like, "Mom, what are you doing?" Um, but it's a way because I can't remember everything, so I have to find a way to capture those moments that are definitely important, and you don't want to forget. So
I used to kind of do the same thing when I was younger. I still kind of do from time to time. where I would go to certain events. I didn't take pictures, but I would like after like at the night or something, the day afterwards, I would usually write it down, write everything that I did into what took place, and then like I find myself finding old notebooks and kind of like when I go through them from time to time when I'm like reading them, I'm like, dude, the stuff that I did then, I this is the stuff
Yeah.
like what takes place, and it kind of like you just start reflecting on it, like, man, it feels like it was just yesterday, but reading the story I wrote to myself that what the events that took place. I can't believe
Hmm.
that actually happened. Some of the stories you're like, no way that actually happened. Like it did. It all took place that night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great, it's fun. So that's my hobby of my downtime, or just take my mind away and enjoy the memories.
That's your
That's,
therapy. A better way to put it.
yeah, that's my therapy. Yeah. No, it is. That's very true.
Now you said you love to travel. Out of all the places in the world, where would you like to go?
Oh, I frequent Rome, Italy a lot. That's that's my that's my go-to.
Any particular
And
reason why?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Say any particular reason why that you love?
I think I like the architecture, the culture there. Yeah. Every time I go, I try to think, okay, what gravitates me to this area? Um, I can't speak the language, so it's certainly not the language. Um, although, I'll pick up a word or here, but maybe it's, when I visit there, thing is the way I perceive it and the way I've been immersed in it, it's just people are always out and about, and then they'll stop and have a coffee, and social, very social, and they have such rich history. Um I don't know, it's just the energy there is so positive for me that I really enjoy that. That's the one place that is continuously on my bucket list.
Now,
I circle back to.
when you're there, what kind of dishes do you get? What kind of food do you like to eat?
Oh, I love any of their fish dishes or their eggplant with the pasta. It's very, very good. Well, their sauce is always rich. Now, my sister and I traveled there one time, and when we went one time together, we've a friend of hers worked for the embassy, the US embassy over there. And he recommended we go to this restaurant called the Red Door.
The red door.
The Red Door. And it's tucked away, but it's the only place with a red door. And so even if you told the taxi driver, I remember I was telling the taxi driver, the restaurant, the Red Door, and he knew where it was. And it's just tucked away in this little place. It's family owned, but it's really narrow. And the artichoke, what was it? The art, not a dip. It's just an artichoke. Anyways, that that was what they were known for, and it was phenomenal. But they keep feeding you. The mama comes out and she's constantly feeding you. So every course is more and more and more and more. So you get really full. And if you don't eat, they get offended. Why aren't you eating? Why aren't you eating? Eat, 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 eat. And then you're like, oh my gosh. But they continuously feed you. But anyways, that was that's a very interesting place, and one I'll never ever forget. In that restaurant,
What is it
the
like?
Red Door.
What is it like walking around in Italy? Do you drive around like a lot? Do you take taxis or do you walk?
You walk. Yeah, you walk a lot. Unless you want to go like a further distance, then you would definitely want to take a taxi. But walking is a good mode. Or they have the buses, the double decker buses. When my sister and I first arrived there, when our first trip there, because of the time difference and the lag, I remember we hopped on one of those buses and we just fell asleep at the top while it circled around, because you couldn't keep your eyes open. You wanted to see you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So we did, but those are great tours though, because it's inexpensive and you can get on and off at all the major stops and hop back on. Um, that's another great way to get around the city.
Now,
And
you said you don't speak the language.
no,
What?
ciao. That's about all I know. Ciao.
But you said you have been there, for a couple times. Have you developed friendships over there that you got connections over there or no?
No, no, I haven't done that because when I go, I'll go with, a small little group of people, either family or my extended family, sisters, friends, and stuff will go. Um, and we don't go to know anyone. We're just going to explore, but we haven't met those kind of connections. No,
Well, you never know.
Be really cool. Yeah, it'd be really cool to do that sometime. Yeah, I'd be interested to do that.
All right. As we're wrapping this thing up, I just simply want to say thank you for coming on. It is truly an honor, and I am humbled just to have you on, just to tell your story and learn about you and your up, from Toledo all the way to West Virginia, going overseas to your favorite spot, and
Not
doing
West,
amazing.
no, Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, correction.
that's okay. That's okay.
But just learning about just your whole story altogether has, I hope without a doubt, it's, whoever's listening, watching right now, I hope it has inspired you. I hope it, like, whatever you're dealing with right now, I hope this is giving you that fire back inside you if you needed it to help you grow and get where to you need to be in life. And just because you decided when you first got to college also doesn't mean that's just something you have to do for a career. She did it. She switched it up junior year. A lot of people are like, "Whoa, let's not do that," but she did, and she instead what she ended up doing is she followed her passion. She got into the field, the career that she loves. You're seeing it firsthand for yourselves right there. You heard it. You heard the story.
Thank you very much, Chris, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
I think you did a fantastic job in wrapping that up. And my only thing I would certainly reiterate just what you said, follow your passion, follow your dream, and keep engaged with people, and don't have the word I can't in your vocabulary.
Amen to that.
Be the I can person, and listen to that one person that you might encounter who can make that difference in your life.
Make the change in your life. It only takes one day. One day.
Yep,
Now,
one day.
if anybody wants to get in contact with you, get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Sure. They can, my email is Carrie, Carrie, at sixwaysolutions.org. And that's all spelled out. So feel free to send me an email, shout out. I'm happy to share or help, inspire, whatever you need.
Keep it going.
Lending ear.
Keep it growing. Keep you growing. Keep you going in the right direction is what she's saying. To keep you moving. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is a platform for all people. So if you'd like to come on like Carrie did and tell your story, feel free to message me. I'll leave my little email in the comments below, the description, I should say. But other than that, this is Chris. That's Carrie. You have heard her story. Enjoy the rest of your day or night wherever you're at. Peace out.